So, Colonel, um, in any operation in army, before and after, you would have a lot of material. How those materials would be used, equipment would be used,
Yeah.
and then after the operation is over, you would look at what has happened, how many shells have gone, etc., etc. So in a way, you do some kind of uh, conservation of the material. In a way, you're saying, okay, this much should have gone, this much should have been there, etc., etc.
Taking stock.
We usually call that as technical auditing.
Taking stock of situation.
In a way, taking stock of situation. In engineering, we call that as technical auditing. Technical auditing usually has to do with conservation of something, conservation of energy, conservation of momentum, etc., which are physical principles. But it is definitely useful beyond the
Yeah. Engineering.
engineering. So, can you relate to some of those where such a technical auditing is the prime when it comes to such operations in the army?
Good, sir. You have tickled my mind into thinking. I think I will do some justice to this.
Sure, sure.
See, as far as what I understand of this technical audit thing is, audit by itself, as I look at it, is to check whether a particular aspect of an organization or an element within the organization, whether that particular aspect has been carried out correctly or not.
Correct.
And as I understand, audit probably began only with those finance people accounting with 2 plus 2 and 2 minus 2.
So balancing is one
And
of
then,
them.
and then, of course, it has come into many other streams of our life and profession both.
Right. Whether it has been carried out in the manner
Exactly.
that accomplished the goal.
The
Is
end,
a
the
kind
end
of-
result, the
Exactly.
outcome has to be as desired.
Correct.
So now, as far as the armed forces is concerned, in fact, our way of life itself is an audit, everyday audit. Because every day, for example, if you take people who are deployed in disturbed areas, we are supposed to be doing something called road opening and convoy protection,
Uh,
which means you look at now, the audit or the activity, the process is not limited to that one soldier commodity alone. There are other support systems which are working to enable this soldier perform this task of road opening and convoy protection. How it happens? At 4 o'clock in the morning, that fellow in the kitchen has to ensure the tea is ready for serving to the Jawan.
oh my God! It starts from there.
And at 4 o'clock, he has to ring one bell. So that bell rings, this chap gets up at that, by then, he goes with his mug, takes his chai, has his chai, gossips around 5-10 minutes, and he gets ready for the day. When that is happening, there is another person who is opening the armory. Armory is where our weapons are kept and many other those usual things are there. At 5 o'clock, these chaps line up in the armory. He checks when he draws the weapon, he is supposed to be checking all moving parts are in order and so on and so forth. And thereafter he goes to a particular place where the vehicles are ready. So the vehicle in charge fellow has to ensure that at 5:15 the vehicles are ready. And they mount the vehicles, they reach that particular spot where they are supposed to be safeguarding that stretch of road. They look for many things. There are drills that we carry out. And at the given time, say 7 a.m., he is ready and he reports that road clear, road open. It's only then that the vehicles move in that, ply in that road.
I see.
So this is an audit that happens on a daily basis as far as any Why soldiering? I somehow feel it should be there in all aspects.
All aspects in a way.
Manufacturing.
That's why it is an engineering sense that we are talking about.
See, yes, there you are. Including teaching. For example, you also do that. You in the morning ensure that the mess is ready, the food is ready there.
Correct.
And so on. And the
Yes,
cycle.
we find out, okay, is it ready for this many people?
Ah,
Right? So those are auditing principles
They're all
that we
auditing.
introduce.
in fact, I now recollect, we both were there involved when when we spoke of mess, I recollect this, there was too much of food residue wastage.
Right.
And then we
We assessed.
instituted.
We assessed to find out how much of the waste is there, how much of it is taken,
Yes.
right? How much of food is cooked but not eaten, how much of it is taken and not eaten.
Yes.
So all those we actually looked at and said, okay, this much quantity went there, this much quantity went there.
Exactly.
So that's the total volume. That's auditing again.
That is audit. You said conservation of energy, whatever.
Here conservation of the material, food material in a way.
And we also did something in this process, which is those plate residues, we put it to the biogas plant.
Correct.
Those unused, not served at all to the people, we sent it to some places outside.
Some NGOs.
They organized all that. I think this is optimizing we did.
Yes.
So, similarly, what we were now talking of, let me get back to.
Colonel, here several questions would be asked. Has this been done?
Yes,
Has this been weighed?
yes,
How many people ate?
yes.
All those questions are in a very similar way.
Checklist.
Checklist.
That's
So
the
you have a checklist.
Yes. Now, so this is how that road opening and convoy protection. Say, for example, let's come down to the exact operation of war that you were asking me. The task given to any commander is aim. We call it aim. Aim to capture Hill A or Hill Alpha. Give a name to that Hillock Alpha. To capture Hillock Alpha by 0500 hours on 03 March 87. So, which means by 5 o'clock your success signal has to be fired. So, you work backwards, reverse engineering. When you have to do that,
That's also auditing.
this is also auditing. When you have to do that, now you calculate, you are in a place which is 5 kilometers away from that place. You have to travel, there are that is occupied by 30 people, the locality which you have to capture. And in plains, there is a ratio for attack. In a hillock area, there is a different ratio for attack. We need more number of people when you have to climb the hill. And so you marshal these people, move up to a particular point from where you begin the operation. From the time, say, 1 kilometer is the stretch, you begin the operation, you ask for artillery fire which is fired from 40 kilometers behind, you ask for close air support which comes from the air, they bombard these fellows, soften the target, by then these chaps keep moving. When these troops move, who go and literally occupy that place, when they move, there is a rate of fire, the rate of collection, rate of advance. The rate of advance is also specified with so many weight on your shoulder, with possible intrusions from either areas, either side of the target. How do you react to that? If there is something else interfering with your advance here, whether you keep going and face the losses, or you stop this and you attack these fellows. So all these things are
course
worked out.
corrections are done. Also after the operation, there is one auditing that is done.
After
In
that,
a way, you call it as debriefing also.
after that, the commander asks, I hope all stores are in order. And then he says, all limbs are there. All the lives are present.
Oh my God.
Count the heads which started with the operation and count the heads that are presently there. So, to summarize, it's primarily The training part is one essential element.
I see.
The training part, which needs
Is
to be
also an
constantly
element
done.
of that. Right.
The second aspect is the maintenance. The maintenance of equipment, periodic
Maintenance of equipment. Maintenance, the inventory
inventory control and management.
and management.
So if the training part of the personnel and if the maintenance is done as an ongoing process, the unit is declared fit for war at all times. And it is my duty as a commander to ensure that my unit
So
is
that's an assessment that you do.
that is periodically carried out.
Very good, very good. So, Colonel, what would the technical auditing encompass as far as this operation is concerned?
Okay, I can list out a few things that readily come to my
Sure.
mind. See, sir, the moment you get the aim, the warning order or go ahead instructions, as a commander, one has to look at the resources that are available to him.
First is resources.
Resources that are internal to the unit and those which are external to the unit, which we have to borrow for that period of organization.
So, what is available, what has to be procured?
Procured. So, this is the resources available. With the resources, what I have to do is allotment of task to every resource, including the human resource. What is to who will do what?
Who will do what?
The instructions are passed on a need to know basis. And this need to know basis information that is trickled down, it has to go to the last soldier, and that should be understood to the by that last man in entirety without any doubt.
So, it has to trickle down to the last element of the hierarchy.
Of the hierarchy.
And also to be
It
able
has to get back.
get back.
Feedback system.
Both forward and
Yes.
reverse information transfer should have to occur.
So with these two elements, the other thing is how do you transport the troops to that location, situation.
Okay.
So
Operation.
transportation is required.
Okay.
Vehicle. For the vehicles to move, I need fuel and oil and lubricant.
Resources also.
How much oil, lubricant for the distance involved. Thereafter, for the troops from here to climb up the hillock, how much time they will take with the load, how much ammunition they are supposed to be carrying, how much ammunition they can use, and when and on what instructions will they use the reserve ammunition.
Okay. So, in a way, time auditing is also a
Time
part
is
of
there.
it.
Time is there audited. The use of resources is also audited because it is limited to some time. It is only when things go beyond you, we authorize removal of the reserve ammunition and use of that ammunition. So with these two, also another important thing is the aim is by 0500 hours. I have to now look at that particular date, what is the phase of moon?
Oh, okay.
When if the attack,
So, the environment,
darkness,
darkness.
phase of moon I look at because I don't want to get in when there is moonlight. I have to see the moon
So,
chart.
it could be moonlight, lighting, it could be rain.
It could be raining.
So, in a way, the environment.
Environment, yes. Environment. You could say that.
Right. So, environmental auditing.
Auditing.
So, each one of them is, can be called as auditing.
Therefore, every factor that you are now listing out as an audit item has to be checked in any operation of war. And in the end, of course, we take stock of what is left and what is lost.
Very nice. Very nice. Good, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Colonel, again, looking at the practice that you have in the army, there should be passing of information or beyond information in the sense that what I know, I want to pass it on. Certain ideas also arise. Oh, okay, why not we do this way or that way, right? All these are very important in your army operations or army. So, does this happen in exchange of ideas It could also be collaborations between two battalions, right? Two battalions, right?
Yeah.
Also, after let's say the war or operation is over, you want to now assess and find out how it went, what we could have done better, etc., etc.
Yes,
Do you do that in your?
Yes, sir. This is very important because as far as this communities of practice goes, this is all about exchange of information. And as far as the forces way of life is concerned, we are basically a unit which is tasked on a regular basis. It could be a daily basis or project-wise basis or whichever. The moment one thing is over, we get back, we give feedback, we have given the result, we are again trained to get ready for some other project, some other task that is there. Coming to the exchange of ideas in terms of meetings, briefings, and
Right.
all such collaborations, when I get, for example, I have a task of defense. I have to defend a particular territory of the country. Say it is, the extent is say 5 kilometers on the line of control. I should be working out what all are the problem areas that can come, what all are the places which the enemy can be probing into or trying to.
So the experience that the soldier has already had would convey that back to the others.
Yes, he is already there on ground. He is the one who is passing information, which is on a real-time basis, which is logged in a book,
Oh, okay.
which is logged on real-time basis in a register, which is reviewed by the commanders on a weekly basis or a monthly basis.
Okay. So that review basically is like debriefing.
That is wargaming, debriefing, meaning from the information that comes up from bottoms to the top, and from the top they collaborate, they work on it, they think on it, they look at various options, courses of actions that are available, and then they put the entire effort wherever it is required. It could be in terms of weaponry at one particular sector. It could be in terms of minefield in some other sector. Like that, depending on the terrain and all those things, we do that. But the basic thing is we are kept abreast of the information that is required.
So good, good. So in fact, in life we do this quite a bit. It is better that we do. For example, let's say this often happens with moms and kids. After the exam is over, the kid is not left free. Kid will come back, and mom will ask, "How did you answer this question? How did you answer this question?" And then you could have answered it this way.
Yeah.
Right, so there is that kind of debriefing that occurs over there.
Yeah.
I'm just giving one example,
Yeah.
but there are several examples where you just go through it completely
Yes.
and ask what are the improvement areas,
Yes.
right? So in that sense, it also helps in terms of the next time you do it.
Yes.
You now know there are certain weak points that have to be covered, that you have certain strong points that can be strengthened.
Yes.
Therefore, whatever task that you do becomes a better task. But the aim is met much more than expected.
There was an occasion when we moved on vehicles, we realized there was a landslide.
Oh God, okay.
Thereafter, half the distance we had to wait because we had to ferry a lot of items on mules. We did not
To the other side.
put up this requirement of mules, and therefore the entire thing was waiting for one full day until the mules came.
So the debriefing, this would come
This-
up.
this is one
and
point.
next time when you do, you will take care of landslide.
Similar things that happen.
Very nice.
In fact, there is a book called Slender Was the Thread by one General L.P. Sen,
Slender was the thread. Okay.
where immediately after our independence, the people from across the border, they came in through that Uri sector, Baramulla and all. Only Maharaja of Kashmir was the boss then. He didn't requisition Indian Army. He did not sign that instrument of annexation. He said, no, I will be independent.
Okay.
There were many things, there were all political issues that
I
were
understand.
happening. Now when he realized people are moving in and there are regular forces that are also there along with these people, there was panic. He himself flew from Srinagar down to Jammu. He then requested for our assistance.
Okay.
We found Maharaja Ranjit Singh's battery of artillery was deployed there. We took that into account as resource available, and there were troops ferried in Dakota those days. It's a fantastic book to read, thrilling. You can't just put it down. So by first light again, these chaps flew, and then the next day when things were all ready, we ordered fire from this battery artillery unit. They realized they don't have the sight. Sight is that aiming point.
Okay. The one that...
That's a small sight, gun sight. All of them were sent for overhauling.
Oh my God.
Again, a point of communication. In fact, why communication? Auditing before and auditing after.
Right, auditing.
So,
And after that, that would have been included in the...
So aim is we have to be ready in all aspects. Communities of all these practices that we are now doing, when you bring it down to a social level, sir, I realize today many of our communities are not village based. There is no pond or a temple or some place, residence or worshipping place, whatever. And there is no community hall, there is no large playground, there is no under the tree panchayat, there is nothing of that sort. It is all concrete building, vertically rising. There are 500 families in very small area where there is a problem of seepage, there is a problem of garbage, there is a problem of electricity, there is a problem of the corporation not working, and many others. It is in these places at a social level we need communities of practice.
I agree.
Where people come together, they resolve differences through ideas and exchange of views.
Nice. This aspect of discussing ideas is something that is quite prevalent among engineers. I would call this kind of aspect or habit of discussing ideas as that of a habit a typical engineer would have. But I would say this is an engineering sense that can be used in daily life.
Yes.
Because we have noise all over in terms of, they put it this way, small minds discuss people, then average minds discuss events. And the great minds discuss ideas.
So you want to say engineers discuss ideas?
Of course, engineers are great. No doubt about it. Ask them, they'll tell you.
So, yeah.
So, what is your take on that?
Yes, sir. So, we are talking of minds.
Right.
Which many of us do not know where it is within our body. Some people say, you ask someone, where's your mind? So he or she says, it's here, not knowing it is brain. Somebody says, no, it's here, no, it's heart. So we don't know. There are many people in the Himalayas looking for mind or researching mind. We are really nowhere close to what they know.
Some of them say it is at the gap.
Yeah. So we are nowhere near discussing about mind.
Yes.
But yes, certainly we can discuss at the thought level, at the conscious level, or even the pre-conscious level, whatever we whatever happens to us is primarily how we think, how we put our thoughts together, and based on what we think is what we speak. You see that manasa, vacha, karmana, we have
Right.
spoken of this earlier also somewhere. So, a typical example of what you mentioned just now is you go to any unit, any cinema unit. Cinema unit is very, very crowded. Very, very crowded. Nobody knows who is doing what,
I see.
and everybody is doing something.
Ah.
In fact, everybody is doing many things. So it is so chaotic. We really have to look at things happening very, very minutely to find out what is happening in every corner. And of course, what we see in the hall is different. There you will find these three kinds of minds. People, not minds.
Right.
These three kinds of people. There are fellows who just sit there and gossip.
Gossip about people.
They talk of people. They look at anyone passing by, he will be commenting on what he is wearing, he is commenting
What he
on
did.
what he did, or whatever happens. These fellows, throughout their lives, will only keep on commenting, sitting under a tree.
They remain there.
They remain there. So this is one thing. The second thing is about the events in terms of, let's say this director of photography is there. He looks at the positioning of camera. He looks at the lighting that is required upon the actors. He looks at the stage props that are to be kept in which corner, which side. So he is thinking of events
Right.
related to the shoot. Similarly, some person who is responsible for production, he has got unlimited, it's all problems galore for this production fellow. Production fellow is the one who is the most disgusted in that area and who is troubled every time for so many of the requirements, right from the boss, the top man in the movie, till the small little worker.
Right. See, sometimes it's the work of the cameraman.
Work of the
Focus. Okay, I have to focus these two people, etc., etc. That's about looking at the event.
At the idea, event. Yeah,
Event.
it's not idea. It is
It's
the
the event.
event itself.
But an idea, okay, why not I group them together, make all of them talk, right? Like what we are doing right now. Instead of having a monotone.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes,
Now, that's an idea
yes.
that comes from either cameraman or the director and so on.
Somebody comes
Right?
up.
And that's where the greatness lies.
Yes.
Right? And practicing that over and over in terms of discussing these ideas. Some of the ideas may not be working well,
Yes.
but we are not looking at it that way. But there are ideas that are being discussed.
Exactly.
And once we are able to refine those ideas,
Yeah.
then what happens is you are able to now get to a level of inventing, innovating,
Yes.
right, and
Creating.
creating new things.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and that's the practice that gives you a lot of joy,
That gives us immense satisfaction.
immense satisfaction and joy. You're right.
There is one particular movie where there is one actor. He is not the main, he is not the hero. Actually, he is the hero of the movie, but then the background, what happens is, they show this particular person somewhere giving chai, serving tea, serving water. He gets into this cinema field like that small-time worker, and he is looking at the director. He wants a particular scene to be shot in a particular manner. The dialogue delivery has to happen in this particular manner. The emotions have to be like this. He is trying to explain to that person so many times, that's not happening. He gets fed up. Okay, so that actor himself, who is not performing to the thing, he gets out of the stage. He says, just go have a break, come later on. Break for 5 minutes. The moment that 5 minutes is over, this tea fellow, who's actually the hero of the movie,
Oh, I see.
the tea fellow is observing everything. He calls this actor. He says, come here. And he tells the director, sir, please excuse me. And he gives him a big slap off the stage, behind the stage. Now he is,
Very
the
angry.
anger comes in.
And
This
then he is
ace comes
photographed.
in. And he says, sir, deliver the same dialogue now.
Fantastic. That's the idea.
This is how this young fellow who was doing nothing, he became a big man. Great man.
You know, Colonel, beautiful. I mean, I remember I had to review a 1 hour lecture of mine. I have already given the lecture. I need to review that. So I was thinking about 1 hour I have to waste and all this. So I was just telling that to a student. Sir, it's easy, sir. Just do 2x speed, sir. Just as an idea.
Correct,
Suddenly I thought, oh yeah, why not? Because it's I know where I would have probably slipped.
Yes.
It's easy for me. I can do that.
Excellent.
So I could now reduce the time that I needed by just half an hour.
Excellent.
So it's those ideas, discussing the ideas. Sometimes they may not have ideas at all, but that's okay. But at least you are asking, you are discussing what is happening over there.
You never know when this gems and pearls of wisdom will come out of whose mouth.
Exactly, exactly,
So it's better to discuss and wait for that moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
Rather than discussing about people, oh, this guy, all those, are the standard stuff of events.